crossing the Berry Edge sites, they've had to put sort of 3 and 5 metre piles in to stabilise. It's one of the techniques that you either float houses or you can pile them. And so obviously,
when the plans went in for that estate down there, it was for 270 houses, and then it was put back into planning, come out again, and then it was 370 houses. You've got 100 extra houses in that. If they sell them, it'll pay for what they had to dig out and put back in again.
So
they'll cover the cost by putting more houses on.
Think about what I said before.
That was the plan.
Not the problems. How are we going to cure these problems? And these housing associations have come on to build houses, right? They've took it on. They said, yeah, we can do this, still make money. So they've come in, they've built a big housing estate there, they've cleared it all out. There's another housing estate coming in, they're going to clear it all out, right? They've took it on board and said, we can do this. They've done it. We've been squabbling for 30 years.
Yeah, but at that time, John, there was a lot of unemployment in the area. A lot of people now are moving out from out the towns into Consett because it's a nice place to live now. It's more a market town than anything else. And it's easy commuting to Newcastle, to Sunderland, to Durham, to Hexham, wherever they are. And you look over that Down Valley, you couldn't get a better... It was only one thing. You got the wind farms on the top now, but I quite like the wind farms, and I think they're a good idea.
I think that's the fundamental problem the council were left with. The council were given a project to develop a new industry to replace the company, which was never going to happen. If the council had given the target to improve the area to live in by 10,000 houses and the transport links, I think we would have succeeded within 10 years. But that wasn't the project that was deemed, and that wasn't what the funding was there for. It was to try and recreate a replacement industry in the area. And I keep saying, because of the location, I don't think it's ever going to happen in Consett. We're never going to be an industrial site for companies to come to. But the residential, that's a whole different prospect.
Alan, John, we all live in the same area. In the village, I bet I'm struggling now to know, when I know everybody that lived in the village. They're all different people moving out the area. And, you know, I was brought in the village. I was a local council there for I don't know how long, knew everybody. And now when I walk around, I see so many new faces. And people are wanting to come. They started to redevelop the hospital site, new housing estate on there. So there is a demand for that type of housing. But they're not housing the housing companies. The other ones is the local authority housings are now housing trusts and housing associations. And they're the ones, you know, they're the ones who are applying to get grants from central government to actually bring those houses up to standard. And to be honest, lately they're doing a substantial amount of work on bringing the standard of housing up to a better level than it has been for years and years, where the local authority just couldn't get those grants before. But because they're now the housing trusts and housing associations, they can actually get that. And you can see that moving around the area. You can see Bridge Hill, Black Hill, Delves Lane. These houses, you know, there's a lot of work being built.
We're living in, you know, I live in downtown Bladen. I've lived in Jarrow before that all my life, and so what you're experiencing is very similar to the world that I was part of. You know, we're living in a post-industrial contract society, as Gary says. You know, and it's interesting so that you call, you know, Consett a market town. You know, where I live in Bladen. You know, it's handy for Newcastle. There's lots of people move into Bladen because for the same reason. It's near the A1, near Newcastle, not too far from the airport. All those kind of things are positives. So I'm going to ask you an obvious question. So if, you know, there you are, you know, you've lived in Consett all your life. Do you feel that Consett's a better place now than it was?
Environmentally, yes. But I still miss the steelworks, and I think hand in heart, anyone who's worked in the steelworks would welcome the steel industry back into Consett.
I wouldn't, Joe.
You wouldn't?
No. I wouldn't. Not the conditions that we worked in. We worked in conditions there.
Well, that's
changed.
changed.
I don't know the steelworks going to operate with the conditions we worked in.
Exactly.
Well, John and I worked in the same department.
We did.
But when I left the steelworks, I went into the gas industry, and I'll be honest, the gas industry itself, from when I started in 1988, when I went to the gas industry, there's been something absolutely change is unbelievable. But it's because of new technology. Everything, when I used to use a screwdriver, repair instruments, gone. It's now all done. Microprocessing, laptops. You didn't use it. You plug your laptop in, you recalibrated instruments. Microwave, all high tech, and it is. And it's the technology is moving so quick that a lot of the skills that we all, when we served our time and everything like that, those are a long, long gone. When we used to sit and change the gears on a lathe to do some screw cutting, it's all CNC, it's all microprocessor controlled, everything's done.
Good question, Joe. If the steelworks was there, how many people would it employ now to run? Not
I
3,500 by a long way.
I would,
So, you know, it wouldn't help employment.
I would say a lot less, because it'll be all high-tech industry now. And
If you look at when we started, it was 7,500. When we finished, it was 3,700.
Double production.
And there was a guy, the guy in, I'm forgetting his name, the engineer, a young lad who'd come in. He says, we're going to reorganise all the engineering side. Mates are going. We'll pair you up and 2 craftsmen together, a fitter and electrician, something like that. But there'll be no mates. You'll carry your own tools and you'll go out and do the job. You've got the experience between two of you to do it. And he says, we're cutting out.
well, we actually did that, John, in our job, because half of us were fitters.
We were good, like, weren't we?
We were half were fitters and half were electricians. And we were multi-skilled, so we used to do both electrical and mechanical. And we were part of the multi-skilled sort of trade there. Man, we got paid higher than any other skilled man. Well, this was the truth. We got paid.
The question about whether it's a better place or not is becoming an obsolete question. I mean, the population, we still have an ageing population. But the population of Concert, the majority have never known a steelworks. Couldn't answer that question. Not even interested in that question. Was it a better place or not? And I think that's one of the challenges we have. Certainly for our older population, us who knew it, is that we're in a minority now, and so that question of was it a better place just doesn't exist. And it's how do we work and create and develop in a culture, in society that doesn't have those same opinions, memories, questions.
Yeah, but you were comparing London to the northeast. However,
Birmingham,
Derby.
Derby.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Well, we can compare the old concert with the new concert. Now, if you think this concert is great, comradeship and everything, you should have seen the old one.
See,
and that's the difference that we can see. You know, I wouldn't know what London's like. I've never lived in London or worked in London. You compare London to concert. We can compare them two things.
We can see the good things that the old company brought to the area. We can see the bad things that we suffered and we're still suffering the consequences of, right? But we can also see that we have to change with the new concert. They're the three things.
Yeah, but the question wasn't do we have to change. The question was, would you prefer the old to this? And I would still prefer the company to be there.
Well, it's not just the company. It's the companies who are connected to the company.
Many more people.
So the transport companies, everybody was happy. There was a much bigger. That was concert, but it went out on spokes to.
Just the way I kind of view it, if the question, do you miss it? Would you like to see it back? Is you see the area now and how people are living, and then if it was still a heavy industrial town, it would look like Teesside. Heavy. Ugly factories, smog.
But you don't know how technology's moved on in 33 years. Right? We probably would have a solution to the red dust.
The steel plant would still be the same. You'd still have your red dust floating over
Concert. The red dust was produced because of a certain...
The precepts.
So we're saying, yes, a modern steelworks would employ less, would cause less pollution. So we're looking at a different animal to what we were. It's like saying the 30s, the pits down the pits in the 30s.
When you drive down through Teesside now, it's not nice.
But
that's the kind of industry that would still be here.
But Teesside now has only got the one steelworks. That's the Redcar complex. The Dave Dormant's town's gone, all the other industries down there. It's the petrochemical industries in Teesside. Now, I used to work in Teesside quite a lot. And I used to see a phenomenal amount of technical skills coming in. And the emission levels, even though everybody calls it smoggies, it's greatly reduced to what it was. And because of the legislation on the emissions, and especially the CO emissions and dust is more or less, it's a small amount released, but there's very, very stringent controls on the amount that they're releasing into the atmosphere. And that would have happened at the steelworks.